Welcome back, Knowledge. This is episode 3. And gentlemen, college football season is officially almost here. Week 0 with those kind of nobody matchups really doesn't count. But hey, it was something. Charlie, how'd you feel about week 0?
I mean, I felt great. I mean, none of the games were even that good, but just watching football, it was pretty crazy. It just felt weird watching football. It's been so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoy
I mean,
college
I
football
think
the
I
same feeling?
I was able to watch at least a little bit of pretty much every single game. They had the YouTube TV as the multi-view again, so I had four
Yeah.
games going for a while, and then I watched some other games that were on, like the USC game as well. Hawaii Vanderbilt was late, but I watched most of that. So it was just great to be watching games again. Really,
Oh, yeah.
not really a whole lot to dissect here. I think most of the games are pretty either all the bigger games like USC and Notre Dame weren't really like there's not a lot to say
Yeah.
other than USC's like defense is the biggest takeaway that people are bringing back.
Well, shocker. The Lincoln Riley team has no defense. Where have we ever seen that before? I mean,
hmm
I think this just shows us with Alex Grinch still there, nothing's going to change. They're going to be a really elite team on offense, and they won't know how to tackle players, and Utah will just steamroll them come the Pac-12 championship. So I think it's just going to be the same story again, to be honest.
Eh,
hmm I mean,
I don't
yeah,
know.
it was about what you expected for defense. I mean, offense good, defense bad. It was about what you expected, but I mean, the only one big takeaway for USC, Zach Branch. Everyone's been talking about this, but you look crazy good. I've been watching him. I watched a lot of him, some in high school and in the Under Armour All American game, and he looks really good. And I mean, just in the game, he looked crazy. So he's gonna be a pretty good freshman.
Yeah. And then let's talk about the one other game that mattered. Notre Dame they looked like a contender.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Sam Hartman, man, with that, I think the rib necklace is definitely giving him some
Special
enhanced
powers
abilities or
there.
something. He
Yeah.
popped off. He looked great. I watched the whole game for that one. I mean, Navy obviously isn't exactly a prime opponent, but it was a pretty cool game in Ireland and everything. So,
hmm
Yeah, people are
I
talking
mean, Sam
Heisman
Hartman was
already.
rookie, and Notre Dame was absolutely bullying them on both sides of the line.
yeah,
But
their
you couldn't
run
really,
game. I mean,
yeah, you can't really overreact though, because it's week 0. But they
Yeah, I
were absolutely
mean,
bullying.
can't really say anything for sure until obviously that Ohio State game. So let's just refrain all judgments till then, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Now let's move into the actual week 1 slate. Starting with, well, let's just start off with one of the big ones. Kicks it off Thursday night. Utah, Florida. Florida going over to Utah. And Utah obviously lost that same game last season. And so they're going to be out for revenge with expectations really pretty high on both teams. So, James, what are you picking for Utah, Florida? What do you think's going to happen there?
I think Florida's I mean, obviously at Utah is the biggest problem for them. But it was a really entertaining game last year, and I think it's all going to come down to Cam Rising's health for a lot of this, because if he's playing well, then they're going to win this game easily, I think. And Florida's a big question mark. That they could easily be a great team this year, but with the schedule, they could be bad. I think they'll cover, but I'm going to stick with Utah for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think another key is that I had obviously Utah has Cam Rising's health, but then also another key is Utah's run game is really good. So Florida, they cannot get gassed. Their D line just can't get run over, especially it's really up high, so the air pressure. This sounds kind of weird, but the air is thin, and when you're going to just run over, they cannot let that happen. Also, Florida doesn't have much depth on the lines, but I think Florida covers, and I have Florida pulling the upset again.
Yeah. Well, I got Utah covering here. I think they're at Utah. They're going to be really motivated after that loss last season and the loss in the Rose Bowl. Really, they're going to try to really go out and prove some things. I think they're really going to try to just dominate. In fact, I would have Florida by losing by nearly maybe even 2 scores. I think it's going to be just a solid defeat on Utah. Not that Florida's going to be terrible, but I just think Utah really is going to want to prove themselves early on. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I could see. I probably would have picked Utah if they had QB help, but I just don't know what the QB is going to be. And I do think Florida's defense will take a step up, so I think their defense will kind of rattle like their young QB, I don't think it's gonna be Cam Rising. I think they can get a couple turnovers to be the key in the game. So I think it's gonna be about like 31-28 win.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the first really big conference matchup within the Big Ten. You got Nebraska, Minnesota, a good Big Ten West preview. We got Minnesota favored by 7, and of course Matt Rule starting. And Charlie, what are you predicting on this one?
Well, I'm predicting. So some of my keys are Ethan Kalikmanis, the Greek rifle. He really needs to be able to throw well. In Minnesota's ground game, it has to be good again because most people are projecting a step back because last year that was their key. And then Nebraska, they need to win close games. I mean, they it's a joke. It's kind of overused, but they haven't been able to do it. But I think Minnesota covers 35-24. They're just like they are a young team, but they're a lot more experienced than Matt Rose, Nebraska.
What if Nebraska starts off the season with an onside kick?
Yeah, for Scott,
For
Yeah.
Scott, yeah. In
Spurs up,
memoriam.
brother.
Yeah.
I
The
mean,
Nebraska
I agree with
legend.
Chuck here. I think Minnesota's got a lot of young talent, so their season could be interesting with a lot of change. But at the end of the day, they've had a lot of successful seasons in a row here, and they're a proven team. I think so. I don't think Nebraska's going to get anything together by the first game. I don't think this one will even be close. I mean, Nebraska's not
I
winning
think it'll be
this.
close. Minnesota's a lot of they have to turn over a lot of pieces on offense, so it'll take
At
them a
being
little bit
at
to get
home
going.
at Minnesota too,
I think
Nebraska's
it'll
not
be
going to get.
I think it'll be a close one. Nebraska will really have something to prove, but I think Minnesota wins, doesn't cover. They're just the better team to me. But it'll still start a little bit of, positive momentum. And Nebraska, they'll just have some adjustment, things to learn. Um, but these are two solid, I think, solid teams. I think both these teams by the season's end could go to a bowl game. So,
Yeah. Do you guys
well,
think Jeff Sims is an upgrade over Casey Thompson? Because he kind of needs to carry them if they want to get a win.
yeah, I mean, it's hard to say until we really see how this game turns out. So I'm gonna withhold my verdict until then. But
Yeah, if
anything's
Nebraska can
possible.
finally pull out like a close win, then Matt Rule they'll already like him more than
Oh,
Scott.
they'd immediately love him.
Yeah,
He,
yeah.
no, he'll have to lose in heartbreaking fashion. That'll be the best way to go.
Yeah, bro,
Yeah.
bro, it'll be close, and then they'll throw a pick right at the end, and then it'll be like for Adrian.
Yeah, have a key fumble.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on from Thursday, that not too many interesting games Friday. So we'll get to the next big one on Saturday. Colorado at number 17, TCU. Start of the Deion Sanders era in Colorado, and TCU obviously just coming off the national title game appearance, which they would probably like to forget about,
yeah.
is favored by 20.5 points here. So, James, what do you think of this matchup?
Well, I mean, it's big noon. I think this is going to be a real rowdy game. There's already tons of promotions running for it. And I'm not quite the believer in Colorado being insane, but I also don't think they'll be terrible like a lot of people say. I mean, I think Horned Frogs have this one in the bag, but at 20, about 20 and a half, I think Colorado will cover though.
Mm. Yeah, a lot of people talking about. I mean, obviously all the storylines on Colorado, Dion, like the Texas players, but TCU has huge storylines too. I mean, they just went to the title game. They lost 8 players to the draft, which is crazy for any team, but especially for TCU. But they get so many new transfers. They get 3 5 stars, former 5 stars from Alabama. So I'm interested to see how those work out.
Yeah, I mean, I would have TCU handily winning this, but not quite by the 3 scores that they want. I think they win by, 10, 14 points, something like that. You get Colorado, they're going to be competitive, I think, for a large part of the game until TCU just pulls away in the second half. Um, and
Yeah,
you got a top transfer class incoming. They're going to put some showy stuff on display at Colorado. Like, Dion's really going to they're really going to play their all. I think they're going to play hard, but TCU will just overwhelm them as just being the better team there.
Yeah.
But
I was tempted to pick Colorado because they're going to score a lot. Travis Hunter and Shador they will cook, but I mean, I don't really know what to expect from Colorado, but their defense obviously was terrible last year and didn't look too good in the spring game. So they're going to score a lot, but they'll just let up too much. So I'm thinking of more of like a 42, like 35 kind of game, a pretty close game. 42, like 30, somewhere like that.
yeah, that sounds pretty good to me.
I mean, I'm kind of weenie because I don't want to take Colorado, but at least I'm saying it's close.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to number 3, Ohio State at mighty Indiana. Real tough road environment there. Ohio State's favored by a little over 4 touchdowns, 28.5. And really, this is going to be a lot of pressure, which is strange to say on Ryan Day, and of course, Indiana coach Tom Allen as well, in what
Mm.
could be his final season. Um, Charlie, you think Ohio State just destroys Indiana as is expected?
Yeah, I mean, prayers up for Tom. He just needs to make it look like not competitive, but like just like will fin like where it's not like a just like a nasty game. Like I'm thinking it's probably gonna be about like 52-3, 60-3 along those lines. Because I mean, no matter who Ohio State has a QB, their wide receiver is gonna cook. I mean, so I saw it. They're not even really choosing a starter. They're gonna go like kind of like switching reps between Kyle McCord and Devin Brown. I think that's a little weird, but I think both of them pretty good. So I think they'll cook a lot.
Yeah, see, that would be semi-concerning if they weren't playing Indiana. So
Yeah,
it's going
yeah.
to be as close to like a scrimmage as you could get for an in-conference game. So they're yeah, it's not going to be super competitive. I got like 38-7, 42-14, something like that range. It's
Only
going to be just
38 is generous, bro. Indiana's gonna let up like 50 at least.
uh,
Yeah,
it's
I
I'm
would say
optimistic.
I don't think OSU covers. I mean,
Yeah.
I think David Jackson will surprise people. I think, but the biggest thing, I mean, at 4 touchdowns, and I think Ohio State's just going to be more testing the waters with both their quarterbacks.
Well, yeah,
You know,
that could
I
make
don't
some
think the
like
focus is
confusion.
going to be. I mean, they're going to let up big points, like Chuck said, with wide receivers and everything. But the goal right now is figuring out who their long-term starter is. I don't think they're
Hmm.
trying to blow up anything right now.
Yeah, I'd love for this to be like a sneaky, actually competitive game, but who
Yeah, I
knows?
mean,
Yeah.
Ohio State and Indiana have a history in recent years in a way, so who knows?
Well, yeah, a little
Yeah, I
bit.
mean, another storyline, I think, as Squid said, Taven Jackson, he's really young. He's a redshirt freshman. And I actually have Ohio State taking a big leap on defense. So I only have Indiana scoring about 3 because young freshman going up against scary, stacked up defense, it's probably going to throw around the lines of like 4 or 5 picks, I guess. So it
Yeah,
happens.
yeah. Well, let's move on to I would say the second biggest game of the week in college game day, North Carolina, number 21, playing against South Carolina, and South Carolina favored here by 3. So this is, I think, going to be a really fun game to watch. One of the best of the weekend, and probably the best of Saturday. James, who you got here?
For me, it's North Carolina easy. I mean, I think South Carolina's been a little bit too overrated ever since that Tennessee game. I think they're going to continue to improve most likely, but with Drake May at quarterback and well, it's a neutral site game, correct?
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina is
Mhm.
favored, but I'm
Duke's
taking North
Mayo kickoff
Carolina.
classic.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, their passing game. It'll be close. It'll be a very entertaining game, and game day is going there, obviously. So,
Yeah.
but
I mean, I
I'm
think
sticking with Carolina.
some piece of South Carolina, they need to get their momentum going, keep going, because they had so much momentum then the last 2 for those crazy upsets. And then for
Mhm.
North Carolina, um, they need Tez Walker because Tez Walker, obviously the star wide receiver, it's looking like he's going to get suspended, so they really need him because Drake May, I mean, he's going to cook, but you can't
Oh
cook
yeah,
without any ingredients,
and
you
I
know?
mean they lost what Downs to the draft too, obviously.
Yeah,
And
you
he was
can't cook without the like salt, the pepper, the spices. You need all that stuff. I think it's probably gonna be a tie, 35-35, somewhere on that line. I'll just take South Carolina 35-34. I don't know what to expect because I think South Carolina maybe has a better roster, but I don't know. I mean, North Carolina is better offense and the better QB, but I guess we'll take South Carolina.
I got South Carolina here. I think at the end of the day, they're probably going to be the more physical, tough team, and we'll just gradually overpower North Carolina, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. So let's move on to another interesting matchup. West Virginia at number 7, Penn State. Penn State with huge expectations this season. West Virginia with basically zero expectations this season. So you got some big differences there. What do you think of this game? Charlie, what do you think on Penn State's
Oh,
start?
I mean, Penn State's about like 20-point favorites, yeah, but I actually think West Virginia covers because Penn State, it's going to take them about, I think, one half for the new pieces, the new Drew Aller to like get going. I actually think Drew Aller, he's my Heisman sleeper. I think he's going to have a crazy year, maybe Big Ten Player of the Year, but it'll take him at least one half to get going. So like 34-17, like maybe like a one score game at half, but then like West Virginia's not good. So
No
Penn
way.
State just takes over.
I got Penn State
Yeah.
winning by a mile. I mean, I think they're gonna make a statement. They're gonna go out here wanting to show they can compete with the big boys of the Big Ten, with your Ohio States, with your Michigan. They want to show they're an elite team. I think they just pound West Virginia. I mean, thinking like
Yeah,
48-7 or something.
man.
I mean,
I mean, kind of
I
like
think it's
Tom.
gonna be a massacre.
Yeah, kind of like Tom Allen in Indiana though. Neil Brown, he's about to get fired in West Virginia. He just needs it to be like kind of close. He can lose, but it cannot be skinny, man. He needs to keep his job.
Oh, I think it'll be a skinning.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
gotta agree with you on this one. I mean, I agree with what Chuck said. I think Drew Aller, and that there could be concerns, obviously, but with Penn State's talent, and like you said, they might be wanting to make a statement. And just West Virginia's been a hot mess the last few years. This is not going to be a close game.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
What do you guys think of the new NBC primetime?
yeah, it'll be. I don't know.
It's gonna be pretty cool.
It'll be interesting. See.
They got the guy from Nickelodeon Slime Time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's weird. All right, now let's move on to the highlight of the week. Just
Oh
an
man.
enormous matchup. Oh, you know it's coming. So, neutral site game, number 8 Florida State against number 5 LSU. Um, this will be just crazy. LSU favored slightly by 2.5. Both teams have an enormous amount of hype this season. I mean, it's insane. You got playoff implications here abound. So, James, who you got in this matchup?
this one's LSU to me. I mean, they obviously are looking for revenge from last year. Those LSU fans are wild. They're going to pack the dome for sure. It's going to be a great game. It's going to be electric. It'll stay close, but with
Mm-hmm.
LSU's hype and their possible talent, they're going to win this one for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think a key for Florida State. Well, Jaden Daniels on LSU, he can't be scared to throw. And then for Florida State, they have a lot of transfers too, so I think they need to get going early. But this game is just huge because, like, as my pa says, if they lose it, then they lose their like mulligan for the rest of the year. So each team's have to run the table, and there's very low chance that either of the teams are going to run the table. It sounds kind of boring, but I'm going to take LSU. I think they win pretty easily, like probably 33-17, 33-20 around there. That's my guess.
Yeah,
I just think they're top to bottom. They're a far better team.
I got LSU here too, and again, they're going to cover. I think one of these teams is not going to live up to the hype, and at the end of the day, I got a whole lot more faith in Brian Kelly as a coach to keep his team going, and I think they're really regretting that game last year that they lost. I'm sure they really wish they had that one back down the stretch, and so they're really going to seek for a full playoff push, you know, perfection
Mm-hmm.
through this season. So they're
Yeah.
just going to come out ready to go. I think it'll be close, but I think it will be just like a decisive win, you know, like 10 points
Yeah,
probably.
I think
Twenty-one
LSU was
thirty-one.
I think LSU was a lot better team last year. It was Brian Kelly's first game, and sorry for the state, but I think they're kind of overrated. LSU top to bottom is a much better team on almost like every position.
Yeah. I agree completely. I think we can agree though, that'll be a lot of fun to see a lot of
Mm-hmm.
matchups. And if LSU comes out and dominates there, I mean, they're looking set
For the
pretty
hype
well for
train,
the rest. They're looking set pretty well. I mean, say because then you lose, you win this game, and you have that one game, like one loss to spare. You could say, like throughout the rest of your
yeah,
schedule, you could try to like make it through 11-1. So, excuse me. You win this game, then okay, you don't have to be perfect against Bama and A&M and
Yeah.
all those teams.
A&M,
So,
how do you sneak in there? It's like that's
well,
like a
They
non.
beat him last
It's like a,
year. Shut up.
it's like an FCS game.
all right, all right. Well, let's move on to the final game, Monday night, of course. Number 9, Clemson, who's really been quiet this season. I would say Clemson has lost the seat at the table of the elites, and Michigan has taken their place essentially in like
Yeah.
the elites, the top. So now they're just semi-elite. And so they really are looking to try to get back to the playoff and actually prove that they haven't fallen from grace, that they're still up there with the best. So this will go a long way because Duke was you know, really remarkably well last year with 9-win season that really everyone forgets about.
Yeah.
So this could be an interesting game. I mean, you got Clemson favored by 13, James. I mean, last game here, what do you think about Clemson?
Dude, I'm really tempted to take Duke here. I think everyone sleeps on their quarterback. I'm blanking on his name all of a sudden, but I think
Riley Leonard.
he's a stud. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, at Duke, like you said, they were coming off a great season. I will still have to go with Clemson here, but it's going to be a close one, I think, and I wouldn't be surprised if Duke pulls off an upset.
Yeah. I think a really big key. I mean, not that many people have been talking about this, but Garrett Riley coming over from TCU to Clemson, his new offense. I mean, their offense was just pitiful
Yeah,
last year, so they need to change. But I mean, I've been going to Weenie Hut Juniors on way too many of these picks, so I gotta take Duke. I'm actually
yeah,
going
yeah.
on
There
upset.
you go.
I've been
I
going to
could, I
Weenie
like
Hut
to take Duke
Juniors too
too.
many times.
I would
I need
take
to take
Duke
an
to
upset.
I would take Duke to cover at the very least. Like I think they're definitely it's gonna be closer than a 13-point differential.
I
I
gotta take at least one upset, man. I'm taking Duke.
Awesome. That'd be sort of shocking way to finish the season. But yeah, that'll do it for our week 1 predictions. We'll see how it all pans out and
Mhm.
oh, it's great to have college football back.
It's the
It
most
is.
wonderful time of the year, Big Slum.
All right, see you guys.